Here, here we go, Jim. We're set up at address. You can see your forearm is now much more in line with the club shaft than it was. Still not. I would like to see your left wrist slightly higher, and by that I mean your hand slightly higher. So this wrist would be level. Level is when a straight line is formed from the top of the forearm to that first knuckle. You can see what I'm doing here. That's a straight line. That's uncocked, and that's cocked. So a straight line is right there. So do this in like a slightly downward shooting gun. So these fingers are not going to be right up the forearm. They're going to be slightly down. There you go. That's level. So that would put your hand slightly higher. Draw lines right here and right here. Top of that wrist. Top of that wrist. Yeah, do it and say red. Top of that wrist. Oh, that's fine. Yellow's fine. And then at the bottom, through his fingers. All right, there's a little holster. Now go through impact. You're going to see your hands are coming through much higher than that, even though you have a better set. Now take them to impact. Lots of good stuff there. Hold it, right? Go to impact. You see how much higher your hands are there than when you started? That's because they were set too low at address. You cannot possibly come back into impact with your left wrist cocked, and your left wrist is cocked at address. That club is flying out, and it's level at impact. So as a result, you have to come up with your hands. And oftentimes it causes a bending of the arm or a lifting of the head and the shoulders or all three. So here we're coming back here. Draw a holster there around those hands.
Just match them
red.
up.
Do it in red or blue or something. So now look at your right arm. See how it's bent in the elbow and how it's in line with the shaft? That's why I was trying to get you to do that at address. And it was much closer than where you started. Trust me, you started, that arm was hanging straight down, and I could see none of your left arm at all. You're very close to it in this picture that you saw. But I want you more like what that is right there at your impact alignment. Okay, so now if you had set them there, then all they do is come back and through in the same path every time, and that helps a whole lot, trust me. All right, now let's go back into the address position here. Another thing you improved in the address position was, you can't see it from this view because it's down the line and not face on, is that you had your left wrist flat and outside your left thigh, your right wrist bent. Now that's impact alignments, but we need first address alignments. And here the hands should be mid-body with the left wrist bent and the right wrist flat. Your hands were stuck outside your left leg with your left wrist flat and your right wrist bent. So the reason we discussed was we want the hands leading and the club lagging going away, and the hands leading and the club lagging coming through. So we worked on that. Then as we go away, I want you to take a look at your left heel. There's a lot of heel lift. I have no problem, zero problem with heel lift. In fact, I teach heel lift, but not 4 or 5 inches off the ground. Much better there. See how high that's getting? So we're substituting kind of a gratuitous lifting of the heel and their knees going this way and a sliding of the hip. We're substituting that instead of a clearing of this right hip. Remember the drill we did with the forearms level to the ground, head stationary, and the shoulders remain square. Twist this way. It's a twist inward. Twist, and then from address going to the left side, twist. Remember, have that weight on that left foot when you do that twist. You'll see that hip will come inside your right shoulder and inside your right elbow. That's going to be absolutely paramount in terms of, imperative in terms of getting the club to move in the proper direction, which you now have learned is inside out and not toward the target. Okay, so all right, so we can see we just kind of rocked out to the right. Now let's see how you've done on this wonderful finish of yours. Here we come down. Oh, I tell you what, give me the top of a turn shoulder plane. Draw a line. Go to your top. Now draw a line from this ball through the tip of the turned right shoulder. And this is the plane I would like for you to learn to swing on. There, right there, good. You can see your hands are now aligned with the top of your right shoulder instead of over your neck as they were originally. All right, but the shaft you can see is a little steep. It is actually more vertical to the ground instead of laying on the plane. I'd like to see that shaft come down onto where it's matching up with that red line. We play golf, after all, on an inclined plane, not on a vertical plane. Okay, here we go. Then coming down, you're going to see it line up. See, go back into release. Start up, backstroke, top. All right, now start, Now you have realigned it. You can see, go back just a couple of clicks. So you do a wonderful job. See how it's running parallel to it now? You do a wonderful job of getting it back toward that line. You're slightly outside it, and that's what caused that you to come slightly across the ball and hit those high right shots. All right, so now you're coming into here to stop it. One more click down. The beautiful thing right in here, one more click. Right now, up here, one more click. Right there. The toe of the club, the sole of the club basically should be facing exactly the camera. You should see no shaft whatsoever. A lot of people, you see shaft way over here because they're coming at it too much from the inside. You're almost dead on plane there, and that's a good thing. So you've recovered magnificently to get back to there. All right, now go ahead and let the release happen. Hold impact. Once again, there, look at that relation. That's how I want to see you set at address. Right now, the frame that we're looking at right here, I want to see half your left forearm with your right arm bent. Right there. And look how high those hands are. Left wrist is level, right wrist is level. Look at how you kind of stood up there a little bit. If we contrasted that position with your address position, you would see there's a difference in your waist spin. Had to be, otherwise you'd have plowed up the ground behind the ball, which you didn't do, of course. Then into your finish, let's see how we did. There it is. Get those eyes off. You know, they say keep your eyes on the ball. Well, that's true, but where the heck's the ball? The ball's down the fairway. Keep your eyes on it. And you're doing much better. When we started, you were looking where the ball was with your right ear. Now, look at how much better your rotation's been. Look where your left arm is now. The elbow used to be facing out down the target line. Now you got the goalpost. Remember the goalpost position and how we turned into that. Shaft is through the ears. I would rather see it more at right angles this way, though. Not quite so much of a slant here. Draw the line where I'd like to see it. You've held your spine angle there pretty good, so that's a good thing. But I'd like to see this. I'd draw it right here, from here to here. Through the ears, though. Right there. See, that's quite a difference.
That's where the club should be.
Right. You kind of got it going down your back a little bit too much instead of here. But you're gaining. That's 8,000 million times better than it was. So we made an address change we didn't talk about. That was that right forefinger, making sure that's a good trigger finger. You actually had that pretty good, but you had the right thumb going down the top of the shaft instead of down the side. Then you had your hand stuck out in front. If you're going to stick your hands out in front, do it by rotating your body this way. That's what gets the hands out in front, not by just sticking your hands out. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to have a mid-body shaft at right angles to the line. Then your right elbow bent, seeing half that left forearm at address. Then I gave you 3 drills for that backstroke. 1, laying the club across the thighs. 2, lay it across your shoulders, using your right hand and arm to pull you back. 3, with it stuck into your belly, where you're just doing a rotation, keeping the shaft level, not rocking in either direction. And then just work on that beautiful finish position, because it all blends into one harmonious whole. The body rotating, the arm supplying the power, the hand supplying the direction. Great. Thank you, sir. Great to have you aboard.